And I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Rick Flairin', gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death, I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. When I open like Betty Wops and find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My ground repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. To the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. We Rick Flairin' on her. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her. We Rick Flairin' on her, flaring on her.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids. D-Phase. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah. Rick Flairin' on him. Rick Flairin' on him. Rick Flairin' on him. Rick Flairin' son up, baby.
Hey, yo, Scotty, you going crazy for this one. We see what you're doing, we salute you. Hey, let's get it started. It's backpack, capital one. What's in your wallet? Got a call from my man, A. Scott. I said I got it. Love that you highlighting all of these black colleges. Try to pay me for doing this. Look, bruh, if you don't get off my line with that foolishness, voice of the swag, pull up where you at, no cap. If the Brody is speaking the soft facts, my advice, tune in to every show. Captain Petty, but we know that the sergeant is with the smoke. Speculate, just tell me what is we doing. Get into it, okay, look, I'ma say this and keep it moving. My boy Scotty, man, he offered the leash. Black grad, paying college, I'm glad that he called me. Walking, cause we all been taught that talk is cheap. Even primetime knows Scott for the HBCU streets.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Scotty. Listen, I'm back. Are we on a Monday? This is Monday, Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. All right, listen. This is a conversation piece, okay? So anybody, let me know. I'm not trying to clickbait you. It's a conversation piece, all right? So if you got something to do and you like, oh, Scotty got breaking news, if it didn't say breaking news, it's not official. I just want to make that very clear. But it's a conversation to be had because there are multiple possibilities of this happening. And there's only one person, when you talk Southern, right? When you talk Southern, there's only one person I can have on. I got to give it up for my boy, Perry White. What is going on, Perry? What's up? Going on, man? Listen, appreciate you for coming on. We jumped on real quick. Listen, you had a soliloquy that you put on Facebook. I know Mr. Campbell is at home right now talking about, well, I've already said this, but we've had this conversation. But there have been some different circumstances that have arrived, and you brought this up, and I want to bring up your Facebook topic that you had up today. Let me bring that up real quick. So this is how it starts off, and you can just break down your thought process and what was going on and where you saw this possibility happen for your team.
So basically, I came across an article bright and early this morning that was basically describing the Cowboy Classic at Jerry Jones Stadium in Dallas. And what it was saying was they're having trouble scheduling FBS teams in this game. Of course, this has been a kickoff for week 1 for a while at Jerry Jones' Stadium in Dallas. And I started to realize, why is it a problem and how are they having a problem with scheduling FBS teams? And then it basically broke it down. FBS teams are looking at not so much as classics, but they're able to make that money at home. So doing a home and home or doing whatever home game in terms of a non-conference matchup, they rather just do it at home. And so as I'm reading it, I saw the last matchup. The last matchup was definitely Kansas State versus Stanford. The game only attracted 28,000 people. So I started to think, and I'm like, you know what? We've been talking about these non-conference or these venues to have these huge games. And of course, the big conversation was the Birmingham game, having a game in Birmingham and the incentives that the city of Birmingham, in which we've heard, I haven't quite really seen anything, but from what we've heard, Birmingham is willing to give a lot to whoever wants to participate and come to Legion Field in Birmingham. So I'm looking at this, and then I'm thinking about Southern and Jackson. And I know Southern and Jackson fell into this whole thing of once UAPB and Jackson State were talking about playing in Birmingham, and Jackson State was talking about pulling out of the Southern Heritage Classic, and it started this whole fiasco. But nonetheless, it broke news about what Birmingham was willing to offer. Then you heard stories about Southern and Jackson, since they're going to be non-conference opponents. And people have to realize, I think this is something a lot of people don't realize, they're rotating off each other's conference schedule. So they're not going to play home and home with each other with it being a non-conference game. Non-conference games, you typically go out and you either trying to make money by hosting a home game, or you're going to go probably play somebody in terms of an FBS opponent that's going to pay you to show up. Either way, you're trying to get money that day. You can't walk away with a non-conference game with no money. And if Southern and Jackson do a home and home in a non-conference, it'll be a loss for one of the teams that year because somebody's going to walk away with nothing. And I got to thinking, I'm like, well, you know, they already talking about Birmingham. There's nothing set in stone. Well, hell, Deion Sanders played for the Cowboys, didn't he? Deion Sanders and Southern both like the Dallas-Fort Worth area when you talk about recruiting students and student athletes. Week 1, a non-conference game. I'm starting to get all of these ideas. Well, why not put these two together in Jerry's world? HBCUs are hot. You hear Jackson State and Deion Sanders getting shouted out on everything. You see Southern fans and how excited we are in terms of our team and Coach Eric Dooley. Why not take this to Jerry's world for week 1 to pop off the college football season? Bring both these teams in, show the world what the two best fan bases look like in a place like Jerry Jones's world, and let's go from there. You leave yourself open for opportunities. The college game day showing up.
Now you're talking exposure. And
you know, look, I don't know what I this is the part where I can say I'm not an AD, so I don't know the breakdown. I don't know the cost. I saw somebody tell you it'll cost about $2 million in operation costs just to play it at Jerry Jones World. What will we get back in return and all of these things? I'm like, well, okay, I can understand the operation costs. But that's when you let Deion Sanders, the businessman that he is, you let him sit at the table and discuss and figure these things out. Because trust me, in Dallas, Texas, where Deion is one of the gods of the Cowboys, people love him. And on top of this, you're going to have the support of Southern and Jackson fans. But what do we play these classic games in these cities for? We always look to get the casual fan to show up. That's what we sell this game off of.
Yeah.
You bring Deion Sanders back to Dallas, you don't think the average casual fan would show up for this?
Listen, that's where you listen. When Mr. Campbell first brought this up, it was a soul for me because of the connection between Deion and Jerry in Dallas is unremarkable. I mean, it's unblemished. You can't. They're like peanut butter and jelly. My thing is this, and going back to your idea of what's going on at the Classic, this is two parts because you're gonna get people who say, "What about the OBC?" Well, the OBC is in contracts. I don't know how long the contract is, and there are also possibilities of a team pulling out, not being FAMU. It's a Florida game, so it ain't gonna be FAMU pulling out. So that's not to say that Jack State, can't pull out of that game and then go have it at Jerry World. This is the part where people have to understand. There have been Division II teams. Delta State has played, like I've said this before, Delta State has played at Jerry World, okay? Delta State is not Jackson State, nor is it Southern University, right? That's one. Two, you can get as many sponsors as you would please to cover any expense Jerry is going to have at that game. It's just self-explanatory, and you know Jerry is going to give Deion a deal because of the fact of their relationship. I mean, come on, he's a businessman. He wants to make money, but Jerry Jones sees it like this. If anybody hasn't been to Frisco, right? Frisco in the area of most of what the Frisco Star or whatever, you could have it there or you could have it at Jerry World, whichever one. He probably have it at Jerry World. He looks at the hotel, I think it's a hotel that looks out. It's like a hotel right next to Frisco, right? He could do a package deal with Jackson State and Southern fans to fill up that whole hotel ridiculously. I mean, what are we talking about? Then all the hotels in Arlington, all the B&B. You're making so much money in the surrounding area, the same way New Orleans makes its money, the same way the Florida Classic makes its money. It's ridiculous. The influx of fans. And I want to go back to one thing you also said, Perry, is the casual fan, the sidewalk fans, the same fans that go see Alabama play, the same fans that go see LSU fan, like LSU, even though they're not fans of it, they're like, yo, I've heard about it. If you bring Deion back to Dallas, it's just the fact that it's Deion Sanders. Like, listen, him, Michael, Emmett, they're all going to be at the game. They're all going to be at the game. You got to understand, yes, New Orleans, and I know people are talking about the Saints and the Dome and all that. Yes, I get it for the proximity. But if you're talking about big bucks, if you're talking about a jumbotron that is from the 20 to the 20, we're talking about Jerry's World, okay? I've been to the Jerry's World. And you can tailgate.
And let's talk about this too. Both schools want to recruit Texas. You know, you look at Jackson State, you look at Southern. Southern has been playing Texas Southern for a few years now. They are looking to stay in that market. Well, Texas Southern obviously not helping you in that market because it's not creating interest. It's not bringing the casual fan to the stadium. You know, you're going to have fans that are loyal supporters of Southern that's going to show up, but Texas Southern fan base isn't helping it any more than what it already is. You change the venue, it still hasn't grown. What this then does, it opens up the door for you to recruit just potential college students as a whole in the DFW area that may not have never seen Southern and Jackson in person, to understand the pageantry that these schools create, to understand the atmosphere that you get on these campuses. On top of that is a talent-rich area that these schools would love to recruit. Now, these kids that typically may not know of a Southern and Jackson and hearing about the HBCU culture, you bring that to Jerry's World, these kids come and they be like, hey, this is what HBCUs are like. This is a culture. This Southern and Jackson is this playing on television in this venue with thousands of fans, with all the celebrities. This is what you want. This is what we said we've been wanting. This is the idea of having an idea that let's show the world our culture. Let's grow what we already have in place. And let's expand and get into homes and to these kids that ultimately may not know about us in 2022. And for a lot of people, I want you to know, I'm just thinking about 2 years, 2023, 2024, because those are the 2 years Southern and Jackson rotate. I love this being home and home. I want it to go back and be a home and home. But for now, with this being a non-conference game, with both schools still wanting to play each other, And I get it. Birmingham is willing to give you something free, but everything free isn't good. I'll take it if it's cool, but you can't. Ask you this: Dallas or Birmingham, if you had to choose.
It ain't even a question. Birmingham can name 2 streets after both schools. I do not care. It's Dallas. What are we talking about, man?
And I'm cool with Birmingham. And then this leaves you leverage. Now you can go to Birmingham and say, well, you know what? Yeah, you're offering this. This sounds cool. This is good. But you know what? We can't beat. This is like somebody giving you a free place to throw a house party. All right. Now, somebody got a house over in the hood. It's an older crib. It's in Birmingham. I'm going to give it to you for free. You guys can go in there and you can play and, you know, have your house party. Or you can go over to Dallas. You can do it in the mansion, in a nice neighborhood. It may cost you a little bit more, but people are going to feel safer. And not only feel safer, they're going to probably have a little bit more better time. And you're going to attract more people to it. I just think the casual fan in Dallas will show up for Deion and Sanders before they would in Birmingham.
Absolutely. And add, like, let's not act like, and you're from the city, you're from Louisiana, that a lot of those people from Katrina, no disrespect, have already moved to that area and have stayed in that area. So they have that connection to Southern that they can just shoot up, or have family that they know about Southern. And so you already have a natural fan base that has already kind of migrated to the Texas area that is too easy to shoot across and go watch a game here and there. My thing is this, right? This is the part where people don't like. The SWAC already jacked up the UAPB and Jackson State game. What makes you think they can't mess up the other half of this game? And the thing about it is, this is the part where I don't understand. Jerry is a businessman, okay? He is the businessman when it comes to the NFL. Deion is a businessman, okay? I don't know how Southern does their business, but that's not my business. But, but what I'm saying, at the end of the day, they can come up with a deal that's going to put money in everybody's pockets. I don't see, and this is just me, me talking. I know Deion's a big thinker. Jerry Jones is a big thinker. I would be shocked if both teams couldn't walk out that game with at least $3 or $4 million. And that's off the minimum. That's off the pure minimum of just sponsorships and everything like that.
And let's look at this. This is the part too. I know a lot of people want to make sure the money side. I mean, look at what we're selling for classics anyway at this point. You know, the hundreds of thousands of dollars, couple $100,000s for that. But I look at it, it's going to be far greater in terms of the social media presence, the marketing presence. I don't care if it's on ESPN, if it's on CBS, if it's on Fox, if it's on NBC, one of those networks we can get to pick it up. Not only that, just think about the presence and the talk about using hashtag Southern, hashtag Jackson State in that market of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, with the celebrity star power that can come with it, with all the corporate sponsors and all the big names. Dallas is one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in the entire nation. I think they're actually about to surpass maybe Chicago is one of the largest metro areas in the United States. It was so big that not too long ago, the Dallas mayor came up with, I know it was far-fetched, saying that Dallas should have a market of 2 NFL teams. That's just lets you know how big that market is. And it's going to go far beyond just the idea of what you're going to take home in terms of a check. Think about the long-lasting impact that you will be able to have of this game that's going to go in terms of your marketing and your branding. And everybody tell you, if you want to ride the wave of Deion, I think this is the perfect way to do it.
Yeah,
a guy that played in Dallas, he lived in Dallas, his kids are from Dallas. Southern wants a presence in Dallas. Both these schools want to recruit in Dallas. Dallas has great athletes, not only just in football, but think about all the sports. And let's just think about the average student as well, the casual fan that may ultimately leave that game and become a Southern and Jackson fan. There's so much more on the table, and the national, regional, and local exposure I think it can have just because it's week 1 to pop off college football season. Show them what our economic power is at HBCUs. Show them that we can fill up a stadium. Show them our culture. Show them that Southern and Jackson are premier brands, and you can rival them with any other brand, whether they FBS or FCS.
Man, listen, I think Rube, and what you're saying, including what Rube just put in, the fact that this is a people don't understand how beneficial this game is, being that it is a non-conference game. That means that they can, just like Rube said, this is open to any bidder. You can, I mean, literally, you can, CBS can come, Fox Sports can grab this, however you want it. If you want it streamed through Barstool, if Barstool wants to stream this game from the Cowboys thing, I mean, this is the possibilities of just packaging this game, this deal or bracket to a network or whatever is huge.
And you got Travis Hunter. You don't think everybody's not going to You don't think everybody's going to want to see this guy play, and plus whoever else Deion adds to the equation of that team, plus Southern just with his pride and his fan base along the band itself. So, I mean, you got a lot of star power with this game when you talk about these two brands that you can sell it any type of way, that I think it just falls into our lap at the right time to maybe think about this. I'm not saying move on it, but I think this is something to think about, especially with this article coming out stating that they're having issues scheduling FBS opponents, but they clearly won a game. They had to scrap it for the 2022 season because they couldn't get any two non-conference teams because, of course, like I said before, non-conference opponents would rather bring it home. I play the game at home, make my money, and I pay you to come here more so than we both going on the road to Dallas. They don't see it beneficial, but for HBCUs, the classics are the fabric of who we are. Grambling used this as a format under Eddie Robinson of taking your brand on the road all of those years and showing Grambling on a national stage and building a national brand. If we're going to do it, I think this will be the right way to do it. And I think Dallas sets it up, especially when you look at Deion Sanders, when you look at Jackson, and when you look at Southern, who wants to be in that market and has a large alumni base in that market. And if Prairie View and Grambling can put 40, 50,000 people in the Cotton Bowl, I know Southern and Jackson.
Easily. And that thing easy too. I'm telling you, they talk about it every year. But let me get to a call. Rocky's on the phone. Rocky, you live?
What's up, my brothers, man? This is a great show. I just want to announce that New Orleans is in trouble. Because once they get this check from Jerry, they not gonna want to show up for the class. What was that thing? The Bayou Class.
Now we're gonna still show up for the Bayou Classic. You talking about the beginning
of the season? Show up for the Bayou Classic. You ain't gonna get a $5-6 million check from Jerry and then want to take that $115,000 you get at the Bayou Classic. Them days is over. And they'll play. Matter of fact, once you get that $5 million check from Jerry, you ain't gonna even want to go to New Orleans and get less than $3-4 million. At the end of the day, because the Bayou Classic in the culture is way bigger than the Jackson Southern game. What
it is.
OFFSCRIPT? No, you're right. No, and Perry just agreed with you. The only thing, Rock, is like, the end of the season, beginning of the season of how it all works out. And that classic game, but I get what you listen, I understand what you're saying. If you've been getting pennies and then Jerry drops a bag in your lap, you like, yo, this money ain't adding up, because we've been giving New Orleans $30 million in the blink of an eye every year. You know what I'm saying? For the Bayou Classic, y'all got to come with a bigger check if we getting $4 or $5 million from Jerry. Listen, he ain't saying nothing.
And look at this. And
how about if we can watch the Redskin Dallas game that Saturday before we can watch the Bayou Classic? Or that Thursday, that Thursday Dallas game, that Saturday we can have a Bayou Classic in Dallas. What you think about that? You know what I'm saying? When you think about if Dallas Cowboys can tie that Thursday game into that with that Bayou Classic in Dallas, just think about what that check gonna look like. I'm just telling you, man, this opens up everything in black college football, bro.
Listen,
if Jerry get down with him.
Hold on, Rock. I'm gonna let Perry go. Listen, I agree with you because that weekend would be crazy. But go ahead. I'm gonna let Perry go.
Well, we're not going to mess with the Bayou Classic. I get what you're saying. Maybe we can just negotiate better when it comes to that deal, but I'm just telling you, we're not going to leave New Orleans at the Bayou Classic, nor are we going to take it to Dallas. But when you look at Southern and Jackson, you look at two teams that are perennial powers. You look at two teams that if the season goes the way I think both teams are looking for, this could be a potential early season rematch of a SWAC championship game of this season, if Southern and Jackson both make it to the SWAC championship. And when you go back and you look at the largest attended games in the conference, when you talk about SWAC championships, who have they been? In 99, it was Southern and it was Jackson. In 2013 in Houston, in 99, that was in Birmingham, the first SWAC championship. In 2013, it was in Houston, Texas, Southern and Jackson. And it has set the standard in terms of the attendance every time when these two teams play in a venue that is not in Baton Rouge or in Jackson, Mississippi. And I just think this right here would possibly start something that could be big for these two schools.
Well, here's what I'm saying, Perry, and I understand what you're saying about the tradition that's tied up in the Bayou Classic and everything like that. However, when you look at what the schools end up doing, they end up paying NBC to air the game, and then they're getting peanuts for playing the game, and then now you finna go and they finna break bread with Jerry, and you think the landscape won't change? Like, the landscape is gonna change. And it's best that Southern get ahead of it now, or New Orleans, because it's all in New Orleans' lap, right? It's not really about the schools at that point, whether they want to uphold the tradition or not. It's about whether or not the city of New Orleans values the game. And if the city of New Orleans values the game, then they'll make the bread right. But if they don't want to make the bread right, they'll play that game wherever they need to play it at the end of the day, man. But I love what you're talking about, man. I won't monopolize the airways, man. I'm sure a lot of other people want to call, but you got to understand, man, this is big for the swag, man. When you get down with Jerry, everybody going to get a bag, and you're going to get a good bag. All right.
Appreciate it, Rock. Hey, I'm like, okay, anybody who thinks he's talking about moving, listen, the Thanksgiving game is already on Thursday. So the Thanksgiving game is on that Thursday. What he's saying is that you have the Classic game on that Saturday in the same stadium as, because Jerry Jones always has the home game for Thanksgiving. So then you have the Bayou Classic on that Saturday or whatever day that lands on and whatever. But I'll say this. Hold on. I'll say this. Listen, I'm gonna say this. There's a part about the Bayou Classic to me that I kind of agree with Rock. If you're not getting paid enough for the game, why not see who will pay you? Like, it doesn't make sense. Okay, if we're making, let's hypothetically the teams are walking away with both $1 million each, right? Let's say both teams are walking away with $1 million each. And then there comes a stadium or a promoter that says, yo, you move it to Atlanta, or if you move it to Dallas, I'll pay you $4 million each. You telling me the schools will say no? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, listen, I think what this does is it gives an opportunity to negotiate.
Yeah.
Before we just jump there, this gives an opportunity for the conversation to be had, because remember, nobody has done nothing to shake anything up yet to force anybody's hand. Everybody is just kind of gone with whatever's been offered. We'll take it. Let's roll with what we have, because nobody's really jumped off the porch yet. I think what we saw the first time of that happening was with Jackson State trying to pull out of the Southern Heritage. It finally shows somebody's willing to step away from the norm and say, hey, let's try something else different. Birmingham comes to the table and say, well, if you leave Memphis, I'll offer you this. And if you play somebody here, you and them both can walk away. So that can make it a little bit easier for you to negotiate. And I think that's all this does right now is, if this can happen, if this does happen, if it's even talked about, this then gives everybody leverage to get that opportunity to sit down with whatever promoter and whatever classic that they would and say, look, it happened over there. And because it happened over there, we got some other cities that starting to say they're knocking at our door. They're giving us phone calls stating that, asking, what are we making where we at now? Hell, well, they willing to give us $500,000 more dollars, or they willing to do this. They willing to cover this cost and cut this for us. So it opens the conversation. And I think that's a good thing to have. Everybody needs leverage when you're talking about negotiating. You shouldn't just walk in a room and just take what somebody's giving you. Have leverage and be able to negotiate and see what you have on the table and what else somebody else can offer.
All right, got another caller. Hey, caller, you live. Talk to us. What's your name? Where you come from?
Hey, what's up? It's Moussa.
What's up, Moussa? Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the gist of what the guy Ruben was saying. Was he saying move this? Like, is this a prospective game between Jackson and Southern?
Yeah, so right now the game is supposed to be played in Birmingham. The commissioner set it up because, once again, these are both they've fallen off each other's schedule, so it's not a mandatory game. So now they're trying to piece it together as a non-conference game, and then that's when they got the commissioner involved to be like, hey, the commissioner was like, hey, you guys can't agree to it. I'll help you guys out. We can do it at Birmingham. Birmingham will give you a free stadium. They'll pay for all the expenses, and you get to keep all the money with ticket and all that type of stuff. And when it first went down, you know, we on the channel, me, Mr. Campbell, we was like, yo, that game should have been bidded on. Like, you should have took it to major cities to be like, yo, who wants this game? And then the fact that Dallas never came into the picture is a travesty. Like, it just doesn't make sense that you have Deion Sanders and you and Jerry can't come up with an agreement, or not even brought to Jerry, however, that, you know, what is the price tag for this game? What will you pay for us to have this game? And finding partnerships and sponsorships to make it happen. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea, because I don't know who said it, but somebody was saying shorter term deals to test out the waters. It's kind of like NBA contracts, like give them a one-off or a 2-year to see what you can get and see how much money it generates. And then from there, you can bid, all right, well, that didn't work. Now we got Birmingham in our back pocket. So I think what the guy was saying on the station, sorry, I don't know your name, but that gives you, which is what the SWAC needs to be, and what we are seeing is more attention, is giving it leverage. So, but me personally, I agree with y'all. Man, that sounds crazy. In Dallas Stadium, the A&T, I know that would sell. That's going to sell automatically. This off of Beyond is going to sell. But them playing Southern, that's damn near. That's going to make a lot of people in that local area come out, and then you're going to get the casual fans coming out.
Absolutely.
But the Bayou Classic is a hard sell because people are sticklers with that one. Even though I agree, you should always test the waters, but that's a hard one to change.
All right, appreciate it, man. You know, okay. So, do you do it like this, Perry? Do you treat this like the Celebration Bowl, to where you close the top of the stadium off and then you just keep it all in that realm of the lower level bowl, and you just make it what it is?
I don't know, because we don't know what the interest is going to be. I think this same concept, I think, was with the Orange Blossom Classic with Jackson State and FAMU last year. They wanted the excitement of FAMU and joining the SWAC and the excitement of Deion Sanders coaching at Jackson State, and they didn't know how it was going to go. Miami, I don't know when it comes to HBCU football what kind of town it is, but I believe this year you're going to get the interest that's going to be there. I believe the fans, in terms of attendance, is going to be a far greater this year of that matchup than it was last year, just because you saw the trajectory of both teams after they played each other. They were legit the two best teams in the conference. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Prairie View played for a championship, but it was literally FAMU and Jackson State. I would have loved to watch a rematch of that, which I think is what's going to make this year's game that much bigger. A lot of people want to see that game again. I don't know when you talk about Dallas, just because you got to leave room for anything when you talk about Deion Sanders coming back to Dallas. And you know he's going to hit social media so hard, him and his celebrity friends talking about, I'm coming home and I'm bringing my team. I'm bringing this band with me. I'm bringing these fans. The Jackson State fans are going to hype it up, and Southern alone is going to hype it up on their end. So I don't know the possibilities. I think the possibilities are endless. I think you could see 60, 70,000 people at this game easily.
Yeah.
You know, and so I don't know. I think maybe you leave it all open. But in year one, I'm only talking about 2 years. And that's what I want people to realize. I'm not talking about permanently. It's just a 2-year thing that I feel like both schools can monopolize and capitalize off of because of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It is growing. People are moving their families there. You got a lot of kids that are looking where they're going to go to college. You got a lot of student athletes that are really good at sports that want to go somewhere. And you got a lot of businesses moving to Dallas that ultimately have money. They're giving families new opportunities to move there, that maybe one of these can become potential corporate partners of one of these schools that can be so much longer than just this game. I just see a whole lot of opportunity, and then I just got to leave room for it. And I think when you add the celebrity aspect to it, I think you got to leave the dome all the way open, the Jerry's World all the way open, and just allow it to see where it goes.
Yeah, I think this is a two-part. I think a lot of HBCU fans don't understand what a casual fan means to a fan base, right? Because a lot of times you get the stigma of you didn't go here, so you don't understand and all this. That's not what you're looking for in this aspect. You're trying to take what you're trying to do is you're trying to take your grandmama's chicken and make it national. That's what you're trying to. Go ahead.
You ever watch Bar Rescue?
Yes.
With
yes.
John Tapper?
Yeah.
So I listened to a speech that he once said. He said, my job is not to keep attracting your same customers that come to the bar. When I come to your bar to redo it, my job is to bring in the new customer. somebody who would just walk by the bar, somebody who would drive by and not paying attention. You're going to get as far as you're going to get with your average person that comes to your game and average person that supports. Now my job is to bring in someone who's not accustomed to who you are and what you have to offer, because that's how you make money. You don't make money with the same crowd coming in over and over and over. You make more money by bringing in more people along with your average crowd.
Absolutely. And that's where I think a lot of HBCU fans, like homers, I won't just say like the newbies, I'm talking about the homers who have a disdain when you take something out of it or what it's supposed to be, because what you're trying to do, and Deion has said it numerous of times, he said, I'm cool with being the lightning rod, but now I got to make it normal. This can't be, it can't be always like, oh, Deion's doing something new. It has to be some normalcy to it, right? So I'm taking you out of what you used to, right? I'm trying to take you out from your grandmama's kitchen. I'm putting you in a bigger platform to expose you to new people, to new fans, so that now the casual fan, like, oh shoot, like now they're watching you on ESPN Plus. Now they have some type of interest to what you're doing. You can, it kind of goes back to people saying, okay, you remember next Friday when he says, I was always that guy that said, I ain't never going to leave the hood. I ain't never going to go.
And when I got my money, I was gone.
A lot of people think that you lose the essence of who you are when you go corporate or when you go bigger. No, what you do is you invite people, because you are the culture. I keep trying to tell people your biggest factor is the culture, and that when people get exposed to it, they can't help but gravitate to it. It just is what it is. But go ahead.
And I think that's why you see a far greater support with the SWAC championship now that they're on the campuses of the school. When you had the SWAC championship trying to play it in Houston and trying to play it in Birmingham, what you did was the SWAC championship knew they were going to get their fans of the supporting teams, but there's only so many fans that are going to be able to spend money and show up. What they want is the casual fan, the local people of Birmingham to come out and come to the game. They want the local people of Houston to come out and come to the game. And that's where they could not get. They couldn't get those local people in Houston to come to the game. They could not get the local people of Birmingham. And so when you looked in the stands, you saw the true supporters of those schools, but then you couldn't fill it all the way up because the local people in Houston and in Birmingham lost the interest, and they just was like, I found something better else to do today.
Absolutely. I got Smash, and then I got David. Hey, what's up, Smash?
Yo. Hey, man, it is a great idea. Hey, it was brought up before, and I think this is big for all HBCU, because even though if Jackson and Southern play these next 2 years for a non-conference game, if you get a corporate sponsor, this game could be like the new hot shit for anybody who else don't have a non-conference game to get the bid for. And with this Jerry money, this shit may be bigger than. It's bigger than Celebration Bowl. Let's get that understood, Jared. Let's get that understood. So this is your time to actually shine, even in case you have a poor ass season. You know what I'm saying? I always think way far in advance. So I agree with this, Perry. Our biggest fan base, our biggest alumni base is in Dallas and in California. So shit, Dion, if you want to take a game to San Francisco, we'll meet y'all there too. Southern fans travel, but this is a great idea. I'm talking about guys, all these delusional JSPB fans in the chat. But anyway, this is a good idea. We could do it. And what old boy said for that damn Bayou Classic. Now, when you're talking money, I cannot argue with him. I can't argue. That money is different. It's different. But tradition, it wouldn't be Bayou Classic if it's not in Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing about it. I get it. I can't argue with that money. But at the same time, moving Bayou Classic, that shit won't ever happen. But I would definitely use it as a bargaining tool if I was selling the Grambling. Like Jared was less to give us $4 million to school. You know what I'm saying? What y'all trying to do in New Orleans? I agree with that. But moving it, nah. But that's all I want to say. Great idea, great live, and Sweat. Hi, your boy, man. I'm good at this event stuff. You know what I'm talking about? I get it all the food paid. You know what I'm talking about? I'm going, man.
All right, man. Peace, Smash. Hey, but this is the thing. How can you have leverage, right? Listen, come on, man. It's like, how can I say you have leverage? If I'm New Orleans and we're going back to Bayou Class, we're going to go today.
Man, don't do it, because then you're gonna get this flip the script. They gonna flip the script because it's gonna be flip the script, not off script.
Because I don't understand. You can't say, yo, it builds leverage, and then you be like, but we ain't leaving New Orleans. It ain't leverage. It isn't, because it tells me it doesn't matter what somebody gives to you. It's just what's that word? Like, it's just the affinity to New Orleans and having that game in that environment is what you really want. So listen, somebody could offer you $6 million a team, and New Orleans could come back and say, we'll give you $4 million, and you're like, well, it's $4 million. It's not that far off from 6. We'll just stay because you want to stay. So it just don't make no. But anyway,
I'll take that $4 million. You want the truth? We're gonna keep it in New Orleans. They say $4 million. Let's take it. We're gonna go and stay here and eat our gumbo.
You know what I'm saying? Let me get to David. Hey, what's up, D? Talk to me.
What's going on, man? I love this idea too, because I ain't number like about 10 minutes from AT&T Stadium out here in Irving. You can have a battle of bands over at, like you said, at the Star in Frisco.
Oh, yeah.
It's 12,000 seat stadium because they fit. It's a practice facility, but also the high schools play over there too.
Yeah.
Or if you want to get it outside, and go back to Frisco, Toyota Stadium. Even though that's where the
they have a lot of concerts. They have a lot of concerts at that Toyota Center. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of concerts and stuff over there. You can have battle bands over there too, depending on how the weather is. I love the idea, and you got to realize too, people don't understand. Deion is freaking loved here in Dallas. Like when he comes home, when he comes back to Dallas, he always say Dallas is his home. So when he come back to Dallas, people know when he come back. And if he, Lord knows, like if he brings the game, if the game is here. Yes, you're going to have casual fans come. The casual fans that's in Jackson, that's on the drive. They're going to make that 6-hour drive to Arlington. But we also got a big ass alumni base here in Dallas. In the same way, and it's the same thing with Southern University. It's a big alumni base here in Dallas with Southern University. So I can see it being 55, 60,000 people up in the stadium.
Easy. With
the dome open. And it's just rocking. And I will have if it was me, I would have it as a whole week event. Like with certain things, scholarship pageants, all this, everything. Like
college fairs.
You trying to get it out to where, hey, kids, you want to know how HBCU works? Bro, you know how we do it? Just take a look at what we do here. And then base your decision on where you want to go. If it's not up to your fees, that's cool. That's fine and dandy. But if you're a student and you feel like you want to come here, hey, be my guest. Get the admissions packet, go fill it out. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do. But I'll say this: it would be a big idea. It'll be a big thing to come here in Dallas, and that's also on top of if you ever heard that they're moving the game for the Bethune-Cookman and Jackson State game from Daytona all the way to Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah,
for that game October. So just think,
that's the Deion effect.
In that stadium right there.
Yeah, that's real. But hey, man, appreciate the call though, David.
All right, man.
All right. Listen,
you popped the season off with this game, this week 1. You mean we getting it started like this?
Yeah.
With the best rivalry between these two schools. And one thing about it, I don't think because it's not a normal classic, it has the Boombox Classic flair to it. But a lot of people around the conference and around the nation really don't know how big a Southern and Jackson State game really is unless you show up to Baton Rouge or you show up to Jackson. And I think a lot of it comes down to the two fans. But I don't think a lot of people really realize how big this game is when you talk about the pageantry of the fans, the bands, and the football teams. And both these schools, we all know, hate each other. We don't like each other at all. Southern and Jackson. If it was flipping coins, if it was kick the can, we're gonna talk noise. Does not matter. And so you talk about a week of that leading up, and then you talk about just starting off the college football season with this matchup for everybody to see, to come into our home and say, this is what Deion has been telling us about, man. I love it. And that's why I thought about it when I saw this article, because I'm stating Jerry Jones, this falls into our lap. They're having a problem bringing in FBS schools. This is the article right here. This is why they had to scrap it this year. They're having issues because people don't want to. FBS teams are not trying to give up a home game for a non-conference matchup. They rather play it at home, and I pay Southern and Jackson State $700,000 to come play me while I walk away with my millions at the gate. Well, we don't have that opportunity because if we're going to do a non-conference game, most likely we're going to play Virginia Lynchburg or we're going to play, whoever, Florida Memorial, to where we're going to pay them, but the fans aren't going to really be as interested in terms of that non-conference game. Yeah, it's a home game, but it's not going to generate this huge interest. Even if Southern plays McNeese State or whoever else, it's a big game on paper when you look at football, but in terms of fans being interested, if it's non-HBCU, our fans just typically are attracted to coming to those games.
I mean, you can see it right here. It said the Classic is all about finding the right matchups that make sense in the building. Teams that want to play and the right financial deal, and we just weren't able to do that this year. I think there's a variety of circumstances that go into it. We'll continue to try. I do think the landscape has changed a little bit on neutral site games that made it a little bit more challenging, and we just don't find the right game in the stadium for this year. Listen, I mean, it's right there in black and white. All right, you got to find the right game in the right situation, and what game is better than a rival, a flat out rival? Go ahead.
Look, highlight that above it. Kansas State and Stanford. This is Kansas State and Stanford we're talking about, and look at the attendance.
Yeah,
28,000 people. We can blow that out the water if that's what they're willing to. Kansas State and Stanford with 28,000. Southern and Jackson will double that easily.
Yeah, and then see, and I think what people have to also get out the mindset of is thinking like this, like, okay, because I'm seeing in the chat, when Southern doesn't sell out their games and Jackson State is known for putting 50, 60,000, all that type of stuff. You got to understand, you understand your bases are going to come to the game. That's not what you're looking to do. Okay, listen, you're trying to get Cowboys fans. All right, just regular schmegular white, but black suburban people who have never heard of your institutions before, who have never gone to a game or whatever. That's who you're looking to come in and just walk in the stadium and be like, yo, Dion here? Yo, I'm coming to go watch the game. And then they fall in love with the atmosphere. That's what it is. That's all it's about. You just get them involved in the game. Listen, man, all you want is somebody to come through your door because you feel like it's no different than a guy, right? A lot of my guys, my homeboys, if you got game, you're like, listen, all I need is an inch. If a girl give me an inch, I'm a dater. You know what I'm saying? If she gives me the opportunity, I'm a dater. So it's the same thing that the mindset of HBCU fans have to have. If the casual fan walks in and watches us play live, there's no way they won't leave a fan. That's all you do.
No way.
There's no way.
No way.
No way you won't leave a fan because the interaction, the swag, the culture, you're going to love it. So you're going to love what we bring. So now you're going to follow a team. You might want to go get some merch. You might want to go add them to your, like, hey man, you want to go just check out.
You may want to send your child or your niece or nephew to Southern and Jackson.
It's that's what you're looking for. That's really what you're trying to, that's what you're really trying to do. No disrespect to Birmingham. Birmingham is Birmingham. It's a historical city. It's done so much for the SWAC. I understand that. You're trying to change the landscape of HBCU football by exposing it to a new fan base. All right.
It's no different than what it was back in the day when you had the Gateway Classic in St. Louis, the Chicago Football Classic in Chicago, the Circle City Classic in Indianapolis, Indiana, the Detroit Football Classic in Detroit. The Atlanta Football Classic in Atlanta. It's no different from any of those classics where you didn't have the same two teams playing every year, where you rotated. Yeah. And you brought fan bases. You brought these two schools to this random city. And guess what? You looked at opportunities. You looked at where we can recruit this area hard. We can gain a new fan in this area. And on top of it, we can brand and market ourselves in this area. And that was the whole purpose of these classics back in the day. We have since moved away from them, but it does not change what it is. It just has evolved into 2022. And there's another way we can do it by using the brand that Deion Sanders. We say we want to evolve, and we say Deion Sanders, well, he's not helping everybody. He's only helping Jackson. Well, I say for Southern, this is an opportunity. We can ride that wave. Strike it while it's hot.
Facts.
Don't let it cool off. Strike it while it's hot, and let's roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Get another call on the line. What's up, Bobby? Talk to me.
Man, what's going on? Bro, you stole all my little thunder.
My bad, bro. You can say it again.
we had all these classics before. The Chicago Classic, there was the Classic up in Detroit, Indianapolis, all these places, right? And what it did was it did open up the door for high school students who don't get a chance to see those schools, our schools, and our atmosphere that we bring. It gives them a taste of it. So now when they're trying to do college tours and stuff, they'll ask their school to send you to Florida or send you to Jackson or send you to, you know, Southern, because they may not go any other way if they never see it. It's all about exposure.
Absolutely.
And the truth is, Houston is not far from Dallas. And between Dallas and Houston and San Antonio, just from the people I know, 40,000, I'm thinking more like 60 to 70,000. Because folks gonna travel for that game because there's alumni that live in Houston and the other large cities in Texas that never get a chance to have a game that close.
That big of a game, you know what I'm saying? Not like a random, you know, not like a little random. Like you're talking about one of the biggest rivals in this, like rivalry games in the SWAC being played down the street from you instead of you having to go. Hold on, but also this is the thing. This is the thing too. As well, I'm sorry to cut you off, Bobby. The access to hotels, like, bro, listen, people sleep on that stuff, man. Like Baton Rouge be knocking Bamas over the head with them hotel prices. So do Jackson, Mississippi. In Dallas, you can go out. You can go out an hour out and drive into the city and not be hit across the head with hotel prices. So you're actually doing it in a city to where now you have the expansion of, you know, of different avenues and stuff like that. I'll go out into Salina or Prosper and get a hotel and drive my happy butt to Dallas. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
And you got 2 airports.
Exactly.
But no, I'm with you. Like, it's just the exposure of it all, man. And folks really just got to look at the big picture. Like, if the money's right and the atmosphere is right, it's good for all HBCUs. It's not even just the 2 schools that are playing. It's like whenever something big happens, it's big for everybody. Because now it puts an eye on Southern from somebody who probably didn't consider it before. It puts an eye on Jackson, even though Jackson State all through the news right now, but it puts an eye on them that probably wouldn't have got that eye before. And so when they play their next teams or they play the next season, that high school student, or whether they're an athlete or not, they're going to tune into that game. So now you've exposed them to FAMU, you exposed them to Mississippi Valley, you exposed them to, you know, the rest of the SWAC.
I love it, man.
And, you know,
I love it.
It's just a big deal.
I absolutely
they need to
love
take advantage.
Hey, absolutely. Appreciate the call, though, Bobby. Appreciate it, man.
All right, bro.
Hey,
so I'll tell you a story.
Go ahead.
I was a casual fan. My mom went to UAPB, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. So I grew up in that era of when UAPB joined the SWAC, and I started to go to SWAC games with her at a young age. But my aunt's husband went to Grambling and was in the band at Grambling. So years doing Thanksgiving growing up, me and my cousins, they would always leave and go to New Orleans because they said we were too young and they just didn't feel like dealing with no kids in New Orleans doing the Classic. So when we finally got older, about the 7th grade, they finally decided to take us. Now, I had only seen Southern and Grambling when they played UAPB, and that's at UAPB's place. Or, you know, UAPB and Grambling used to play in Shreveport at the Red River Classic back in those days. But, you know, I only knew them from that perspective. I had never been to a game to where 60, 70,000 Black people were inside of a stadium in a city that they took over and had so much surrounding that game. And so when I went, I instantly became a Southern fan. Now, remind you, I was a casual fan. I was no fan of neither school, but when I left from that game, that's ultimately how I went to Southern. That's ultimately how I got my degree from Southern. That game changed my whole perspective. I believe that was in 2000. When I came back, I bought Southern paraphernalia, and it was just, I did. Southern won the game. I remember Mystical performing with the band. It was just all of that together, and then looking around, seeing 70,000 people in the Superdome. Now, mind you, nobody from my family went to Southern. I don't know anybody that went to Southern until when I got here. And because of that, I walked away being a lifelong fan of Southern. And because of that, I ultimately became a student at Southern. I graduated from Southern. That's the impact of these types of games that they can have on somebody who don't know nothing about these two schools. And then you go to that game and you walk away a fan. And that's what happened to me with Southern. I fell in love with it. And I made it my lifelong mission to make sure I go to Southern. I'm still talking about Southern with you right now. That's the impact of these games.
That absolutely. I'm gonna go 4425, then I'm gonna go to Dre. And I want to say this: KP is damn right. A battle of the bands in Dallas, man, stop it. All right. Hey, caller, you live, talk to me.
What's happening, man?
What's good? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, man, it's Dre right here.
Talk to me. Talk to me, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I think that Jackson State and Southern game, man. It's gonna be a highlight game this season, man, for the SWAC, man. I think Jackson State gonna beat them by 20, and they're gonna beat everybody by.
Not on topic. Try again, sir. Hey, what's up, Dre? Talk to me.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's good?
Man, I think it'd be a great idea, especially since no one's using the stadium. One thing a man like Jerry wants, he wants that stadium to be used as much as possible, 365 days a year. That's why he has that type of stadium. I kind of compare it to like somebody who owns a bar or a club. You know, they got promoters who want to use it and everything, but they want that bar open and everything. So I think a deal like this could be done between Deion, Jerry, and some lawyers probably in about 3 weeks. I mean, something like that. I mean, they can hash out everything. To me, I don't, you put the lawyers together, get Southern people, get Jackson folks together, and, so they could it'll definitely be a great deal for everybody. I don't think Deion's going to make no bad deal, and Southern will be there to make sure they get what they need to get also. So they don't even need the SWAC commissioner for this. And be honest, they probably don't need a SWAC commissioner for a lot of deals with Deion being at the forefront. So
yeah,
I think it'd be a great idea if someone, could bring it to the table and everything like that. Because you're right, he would definitely get a discount. So if it's $2 million, Deion will get somebody to sponsor that $2 million.
That's what I'm saying. Like, people in here talking about something, you got to pay for the stadium. Like, that's less small-minded thinking, okay? Like, that's you thinking about that's you thinking about trying to rent out an event center. That's you, okay? You're not talking about Deion Sanders. What are you talking about?
Man, Deion ain't paid for nothing that bit at Jackson State.
Come on,
he got said that ain't nothing coming out of Jackson State budget that he's gotten done at Jackson State. Oh, that's outside money. Oh, that's sponsorship money.
Stop.
That ain't nothing. I mean, you sit there, you get somebody to put, you get Affleck to put Affleck on the turf. There's that $2 million.
Right. Like, listen, me and Perry both put our hands up. There you go. Affleck done sponsored the whole thing. It's too easy, man. It's too, like, that's what I'm saying. That's small-minded thinking. If you thinking, oh man, we got to pay for the stadium. You know how many sponsors that what? We got to pay for the stadium.
But the thing is,
because we want free, man.
Different space.
Yeah.
Deion's in a different space. So when you've done, sometimes I think it just comes from a lack of knowledge where just folks haven't done it.
Yeah.
And you got somebody who is an expert who have done it. He knows how to get it done without using your own money.
Absolutely.
So, but I think it'd be great if they could pull it off.
Absolutely, man. I think it'd be crazy. But appreciate the call, though, Dre, as always.
Appreciate it.
All right, man. Hey,
Jackson State and Southern need to call us, man. Call me.
Man, listen.
Call me.
Your final thoughts, Perry. Hit me with your final thoughts.
I think overall, when you look at the marketing and branding aspect of what this game can do, being week one, not just one of the biggest rivalries in the SWAC, not just one of the biggest rivalries in FCS, but I think one of the biggest rivalries, period, in college football. When you bring that to a place where you have one of the coaches that is a beloved guy who's on a different spectrum than what we are used and accustomed to because of the notoriety that he has. Deion Sanders, his reach goes far beyond than most coaches and just their fan base and sparking up their fan base. His reach goes to people who don't even know about our schools, but just want to come see him, and that we can then ultimately turn into one of our fans in our fan base that ultimately can have a child or a nephew or a cousin that could become an alum of one of these schools and send a kid to get a degree or be a student athlete. I just think this is an opportunity that if they take a chance to just take a step back and just analyze and look at it, they can realize even from the money, not even just from the money perspective, but just you putting Southern and Jackson together on this venue week 1, there's a possibility of College Game Day. There are so many networks that'll be willing to pick this up because actually in week 1, you don't get the huge matchups because you get those cupcake games during normally week 1. The big schools, Alabama's going to play Georgia Southern, right? Georgia's going to probably play, North Carolina State. It sounds good, but it's not actually a big game. And you get an opportunity to showcase this on a national stage with a national spotlight. I think it goes far beyond just all the people sitting in the stands. I think this goes even into the branding and the marketing and the longevity, not just a short-term picture of these two schools within that stadium, but a long-term in terms of excitement that generates these two schools. And I just think you can't help but sell that. And I think doing it at Jerry's World, a place where Deion Sanders played in terms of for the Cowboys, you take the excitement that he brings to HBCU football on top of our fan bases that are already established. This gives us nothing but room to jump off and step on another step and continue to move forward upwards instead of just taking that step and just staying on that same step and moving on that same level. This gives us an opportunity to have growth. And I just think if we can analyze and look at it and figure out what way it works. And remember, Southern and Jackson are only 2 years that they're non-conference opponent in 2023 and 2024. You want to monopolize and get as big as you possibly can. You talk about Shedeur Sanders in 2024, he'll be a senior, right? He's from Dallas. Didn't he play high school football in Dallas?
He surely did. He surely did.
Then you talk about 2023, that'll be his junior year. Then at that point, you'll have Eric Dooley probably fully established in his second year and bringing in the talent. I just think it leads, long story short, I just think it leads for an opportunity of a preview for a SWAC championship as well. Or it could be a rematch of the previous year's SWAC champion. It's so much on the line. And you talk about the bands, when you add in these fans included with it, man, kids are going to walk away sold on both these programs, regardless of how the game goes. It'll start a whole new wave. And Dallas is a place where it is one of the fastest growing metropolitan areas in the nation. So you got a lot of families that are moving there to raise their kids, to go to good school districts, to send their kids ultimately to college. Why not let this be maybe an open door to bring in some of those kids who are moving to Dallas and get exposed, no matter where they're coming from, to HBCUs such as Southern and Jackson State, and ultimately usher in that new wave of fans and that new generation of alums.
Hey, let me get a couple callers in here because you out here trying to preach today.
My bad. Hey, man.
Hey, caller, you live, talk to us.
Yo.
Yeah, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, it's D from Dallas.
Talk to me, D.
What's up, bro? Well, I'm from Jackson, really, but I've been hurt for 2 days, so I didn't go to work. So this morning I woke up and they showed the top 100 recruits in Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this perfect for recruiting for the whole teams, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's all I want y'all to point out. Like, talk more about the recruiting because there's some good ball in Dallas. It's some real good ball in Dallas. Like, these boys I'm talking about 6'2", 6 foot, 6'1", all of them highly recruited. So if Deion comes in week 1, he's looking for another flip. You know how that's gonna go. Hey, Dooley might get a flip. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
I think you can have it.
Perfect opportunity.
I think you can have it to where you invite the top 100 players in Dallas to the whole game, to the game, and just in the game in general. It's an open invitation for the top 100 players or top 200 players or whatever, because that's just free seats. That's literally all you're doing. You're just giving away seats. So you can have them on the sideline, come out at halftime. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever, but just the exposure alone, yeah, absolutely.
Man, these kids so spoiled, man. They got their little hot $20, $30, man. They coming in. You know what I'm saying? I went to the Maydale Duncanville game. it's 20,000 people at this game, bro, and everybody was like 15,000 was black. I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know, I never seen a high school game with them and the black kids in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm already knowing what they gonna do at Jerry World, bro. You know, 56,000 easy black people, and that's perfect for a Duncanville kid who would never go to Jackson or never go to Baton Rouge. You know, the Soto kid, Cedar Hill kid. You know what I'm saying? A Sock kid, South Oak Cliff kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These top kids in the state and they top kids in the nation. So you gonna flip one of them kids, man. You know, that'd be perfect. It's a perfect melting pot for the recruiting tip if they can get that game in Dallas. You know, it'd be perfect, bro. And that's all I got.
Hey, no, appreciate the call, D. No, I appreciate it, man. And you know, and we touched on it a little bit, but I don't think we really dove deep on the faction of recruiting and how this can be a recruiting aspect for both sides. You know what I'm saying? It's, you know, you're getting a free I don't want to say free experience, but you are getting a free experience because they bringing it to your city. It's like the Soul Circus. You know what I'm saying? They're traveling to you. So to be able to bring out the top 100 players or invite the top schools, the type high school schools to come out and bring their kids and, you know, their seniors or their juniors and let them see the game, the atmosphere and the environment, they could fall in love with it right there on the spot. And some of these parents, let's be real, some of these parents that their kids are top athletes are alums of these schools. So it's great for them to be like, yo, instead of me having to go to Jackson or Louisiana for you to see this, you can just come right here and you can get the experience of what I've been telling you about. That's awesome as well. Let me take this other call for you, go, Perry. Let me see. Hey, caller, you live. Talk to me. Hello.
Hey, you talking to me, Scotty?
Yes, sir. You live.
All right. Hey, this is Meredith, man. Hey, man, I'm up here in Austin, Texas right now, man. This hit up here fast. When I said it hit up here real fast, man, them guys up here ready for that game to happen now. So if they do that, not just Dallas is going to show up. You got Austin going to show up. You have Houston that's going to show up. You got to remember, Dallas is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas is big. Texas is big. And not only that, we can't wait to throw a car show before the game.
Yo, that's it. Oh my God. Listen, you do a car show in Dallas? Oh my God.
Hey, they just had one this weekend, man. And I'm talking about it was so packed. I'm in my Dodge right now, bro. And I'm telling you, man, the thing was so packed, man. It was ridiculous, man. And if you throw a car show before the venue and you get a proceeds from that car show to HBCUs, and I ain't talking about just Jackson State or Southern. I'm talking about we got to take care of these schools, man. We got, like we said before, Scotty, we got to get these schools up and running, man. Some of these schools are scared to step out there, bro. And the reason they're scared is because they stuck in the old ways. You got to come out the old ways and come into the new. It's time for the new. All that old stuff is dead, man. We got to do it big for our schools, man. I'm a product of an HBCU. It's not as big as all the other ones. Harris Stokes Teacher College in St. Louis, Missouri, but I moved up here to Dallas. And I moved up here to Austin. But these guys just got through talking about it, man, and they ready for it to happen tomorrow.
That's nice. I ain't even, man. But see that, but they, you know what? I appreciate you calling in because these are the ideas that you want to hear to be like, yo, the creativity, thank you. The creativity has just been amazing. You add the high school recruiting, you add the car show, you do a Greek show, you do a battle of the bands, you incorporate all the culture in one facility, and then the cherry on top is Deion Sanders and all the celebrity that's come with him. You see what I'm saying? And all the celebrities that come with him. So it's too easy for Deion to make a call to have all the smoke pull up, or another podcast or somebody associated with Barstool or former Cowboys have a signing day, have a picture day. There's so many opportunities for this to just go somewhere with it. That once again, it's no disrespect to Birmingham, but you're not capitalizing on the full potential of what this game can be in the grand scheme of things.
No, man. Hey, Scotty, I'm gonna tell you right now, man. My son, high school, dude. Hey, man, when they games are so packed, it's ridiculous. And I wouldn't mind bringing my son on up to see Southern and Jackson State. And not only that, I had the coaches bring the football teams up there, man. And see, the thing is, these kids got to see.
Yeah.
Us as black folks, man, we are visual learners.
Yeah.
Now tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not.
We are visual learners first, bro.
Nah, man. Listen, for us, for a lot of black people, you can tell black people what to do, but they gotta see it on you. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of black people, they gotta see success to be like, oh, he really doing it. So for a lot of young black kids to go there and be like, yo, this is what Jackson State and Southern looks like. Like, I want to play in this rivalry. You know what I'm saying? If it's that intense, I want to be there. So I absolutely agree. But hey, man, Art, you be safe, bro. Appreciate the call.
That's a 10-4, man. I'm on the road.
All right, man. Man, the creativity that people are coming up with is just amazing to me.
Do you hear the excitement? That's letting you know this is a good idea.
Yeah. What's up, caller? You live? Talk to me.
All right, man. This is Justin, man. I'm a truck driver too. All of us checking in, man. We love listen to your show. Let me tell you something, man. That's gonna be a great hell of an idea. As y'all saying, you got battle of bands, you got different all these promoters. They'll be eating all that up. They'll have a concert for they call it the Bayou Classic. Not Bayou Classic, but battle they can call it the Battle of the Big Cats again down in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas. You got so much stuff that it can be did. Like you say, a great idea, car shows. Some of us Mississippi folk, we like having horse shows, having a trail ride. a lot of stuff like that.
You're not lying.
They bringing them horses out. I mean, it made no difference.
Oh, you can do a rodeo. You can do a rodeo before it. Yeah, you can do a rodeo. Yeah. Hey, man, listen, it's the possibilities are just endless. And somebody said, let's do a high school game Friday night. Come on, like it's all there. It's all there, man. Listen, you are, man. I'm loving this, man. I am loving this.
And then, like we do in Jackson, we always do the Battle of the Band. We can do the top bands in Texas. Skyline is one of Jackson State's favorite. That's one of the alumni Sonny Boom members. So I mean, you got them, and you can bring Edna Carter out of New Orleans. Got so much opportunity, and bring more revenue to Dallas, and spend the money for this school. Every school get them a couple grand, couple $1,000, $1 million or more. Hey, it's an opportunity to do that out there.
Man, I love it. I'm loving it, man. Appreciate the call. Be safe out on the road, man.
I appreciate it.
All right, man. All right, I'm going to end it with Smash because everybody keep calling in. Black people, they always want to come into the club when it's about to close. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Smash, you the last one. All right,
man,
Smash. Go ahead, Smash.
All these ideas sound nice, and we got all these grandiose ass fucking ideas. Like, 2 questions. How the hell are we going to put this in motion? And what happens if the SWAC take this idea? Would y'all be pissed as hell, or would y'all want some credit for it? I think y'all need some credit. It's your time to shine, Scotty. I'm tired of people taking your shit and not giving you no credit, man. We need to make this shit happen. But what you think about that? What you think of that?
Listen, if it happens, you already know I'm gonna be like, y'all niggas watch it, like y'all stole. I'll be like Soulja Boy. That was me, Soldier, bar for bar, flow for flow.
The swag.
The swag. You're like, come on, they stole our whole idea. You know what I'm saying? But no, Mr. Campbell brought this up a while back. I told Perry before we got on, I said, Mr. Campbell brought it up, but the article, the dropping of the ball for their kickoff actually made everything make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're having a hard time, FBS, finding teams that want to come out there and play because money is not an issue for them. They don't need money from Jerry Jones. They're like, man, we get money all the time. Stanford, man, we stay with
them. And the exposure and everything else.
They don't need that. You see what I'm saying? So now when you step into that FCS realm, and you go to top brands and you bring in the Deion Sanders effect, now you're talking. Now this can make sense, because if you can let Delta State play at your stadium, what? Come on, man. It's nothing to have Jackson State. So for me, listen, the commissioner, he does what he does, and it's like I said, you can't make me believe if you effed up the UAPB game with Jackson State, I can't trust you to do right with the Southern and Jackson. You just can't. It doesn't make sense to me. That's like somebody stealing $10 from me, and they're like, "Yo, Scotty, I'm good for this one." You sure? No, you sure you good? Because last time you stole from me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know. I think you have to take the ball. I think you have to take the ball away from the SWAC. All right. And then you have to let these schools do what they do and make it happen. And then have that mediator with Jerry, and y'all make it come to pass, man. But it could be huge. It literally could be huge.
Yeah, I just wanted to happen instead of, like, I know we're gonna talk about it, and it's a great idea, and they watching. I just kind of wanted to happen. So whoever listening to this got connections with Dion, because everything get back to Coach Prime and everything get back to the commissioner. Watch this shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And right on this. You know what I'm saying? Because it need to happen. It's a dope idea. I'm talking about, you talk about the pageantry, the four-wheelers, and the trail ride. That's my ass right there. You know what I'm talking about? Got him going, man.
All right, Smash. Appreciate it, man. Listen, I'm shutting the call lines down, man. I appreciate everybody that call in, man. The excitement that, like Perry was saying, you can just feel the excitement about it and what all the possibilities that can go with it. For me, listen, I'm gonna say it to this: it's the hotels. For the hotels is the sell for me, because I've been shooting around to all these games, and they have been price gouging my pockets like nobody's business. All right. So to have Dallas, and to have, if you know anything about Dallas, it's huge. You could go to Fort Worth, you could be in Garland, Waxahachie, you know what I'm saying? You could be out in the boonies and still drive your way into Dallas, and everybody feel comfortable with the pricing. You know what I'm saying? If you want to go 2 hours out, it's so many opportunities that are there for this opportunity. Listen, I think the second part of my final thoughts is this: the network television. That check for a network television to put that event on, listen, man, that you can add another $2 million to each school. So you got Jerry paying you to come there. You got the networks paying you to come there. You got, Jerry's going to have the advertising probably on the back end. You know what I'm saying? So it's just too much money to be left out on the table. That, and I hate to do this to Jerry, but what's $6 million to Jerry? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. What's $6 million per team for Jerry? That's nothing. And I think it could be life changing. And I think also, if you establish the relationship, I think there's something that even if Dion ever decides to dip, that Jerry can always go back and say, hey, let's try this again. You know what I'm saying? Like, it worked. It might not be to the level of what it was with Dion, but I think if you establish the relationship, there's always a pattern that might make this say, like, hey, let's do it like this, or let's try that again. That's just my personal thing. But, man, hey, Perry, this was fun, man. I'm glad I got you on. I'm glad you're here to talk about it. Anything you want to tell people that you got coming up with Jaguar Journal or anything like that?
No, man, it's slow time of the year, man. But, tune in. I do the Jaguar Journal on 107.3 in Baton Rouge. I also got a YouTube channel on the yard. So between those two, man, those are the two things I'm working on right now. But the net, man, is just constantly filtering the internet, looking at articles, and coming up with being creative and seeing ideas out of stuff. And this is the creativity that we got to have. This is, if you want to move forward into the future, these are the type of opportunities that you got to look at. You got to take simple stuff like this, of seeing an article, dissecting that article, and realizing there's a struggle for them, but this could be a reward for us. Mm-hmm. And realizing, how do we work it? And those are the type of things that I look for all the time when I'm out looking on social media or scanning the internet. I'm always looking at opportunities, and what way can we find opportunities in order to build our brand? And right now, it is hotter than ever, especially when you add Deion Sanders directly into the conversation of his team, and then you add another huge brand like Southern, and you put these two brands together, and it falls right into our lap on the 2 years that they're about to be non-conference opponents and want to play each other and don't want to do home and home. They want to go somewhere and make money. Yeah. Remind you, these schools did this in the early 2000s when they took this game to New Orleans. I don't think a lot of people remember when Southern and Jackson played in New Orleans. It really wasn't as huge as they thought it was. But now that you've evolved the game and we see it to what it is today, man, and I know people are asking, well, what would you call it? I don't know. Just hell, a classic. The classic is what you call it. The class. I don't know. But I just think there's an opportunity there, and you have to be visionary. You have to get out of that old way of thinking. Bust your bubble of the old world and get with the new world and realize it ain't always even about writing a check. Just think about the marketing and branding. That's the part I can't stop talking about. Think about how many people you can get to start talking about your school, talking about your brand, and hyping that up all the way. With that being the first game of the year, think about all the hype with nothing else taken away from it. No other game played. You can literally hype that up for game one and hype it up so much to where you have Kirk Herbstreit and College Game Day. And hell, maybe Lee Corso puts on one of the mascot heads.
Yeah.
You know, you got the bands. They showed up to the Me X Swag Challenge. I don't see why they wouldn't show up for their friend Deion Sanders. And like the guy said before, I know we didn't talk about it a lot, but the recruiting aspect, not just students that come to your school, but the student athletes. Dallas in that area is full of students in terms that can play some good ball, not just football, but any kind of ball.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just a big area where people are moving into right now. So with people moving there, I mean, they having families, they're going to schools. This is a new wave. This is a new wave that you can jump into that market and find your next generation of alums right there that come from stable backgrounds that could be awesome when you start talking about giving back.
I don't know how comfortable you are with the Dallas market, but I'll tell you this: Dallas radio would be booming. Dallas radio would be just booming with. I mean, they'll promote this game. It'd just be stupid. Because most of the black jockeys are, you know, you got, I think it's Bebe, you got, you know, all that, you know, DD in the morning, it's just be pure pandemonium in Dallas when it comes to that. And then what you also touch into is the Dallas Cowboy Radio 105.9 The Fan. You get into that because they're going to promote it because why? It's at the Cowboys Stadium. Once again, that's a whole market that you're touching into that you don't understand. So it's a lot. It's an absolute lot. It'd just be pandemonium. I would love to see it happen. I can't. Ricky Smiley, you know what I'm saying? All type of stuff. Steve Harvey, however you want to do it. So
and people will fall in love with these two brands. HBCUs are different. And I know we lump them all together, but they're all different. Each one brings something different. But when you put Southern and Jackson together, you can talk about all the rest of them all you want, and they can have their pride. I can respect it wholeheartedly. When you talk about Southern and Jackson, you put them together, you can't help but walk away being a fan. You just can't walk away not being a fan of either one, whether it's from the trash talk, you're going to love the band perspective, or just the game itself, just the pageantry. You can't walk away not feeling it because both fan bases are going to show you that they're passionate about their school, regardless if it's in the classroom or if it's on the football field, but they love who they love. And you see those flags flying everywhere. You're like, who is Southern and who is Jackson? Now you're hearing it on the radio all week. You're seeing it on the news all week. Every time you get on social media, you're seeing the hype. Well, I think I'm going to go check out this game. Everybody seems to be talking about it.
Absolutely. And that's what you're looking for. I want to go check out this game because everybody is talking about it. And I just think you make it a star-studded event. I mean, that's the best way I can crown it. But listen, I like that Jungle Jamboree. I ain't even gonna lie. That Jungle Jamboree, that's a dope name. I like that Jungle Jamboree. That's fine. You might want to copyright. You might want to copyright that, Reed. You might want to copyright that. All right, but listen, guys, we appreciate it, man. Listen, Perry, I always appreciate you jumping on with me, man, having a good discussion. This was fun, man. Absolutely love it. Listen, guys. Until next time, tonight, 7:00, I got an interview with Kitten, Evans tonight or 7:00. Tune into that. But you already know what it is. Until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holla. God bless.